The Department of Graphic Design is a discourse community among the School of Creative Arts within the University of Education, Winneba, which is situated in the central region of Ghana within the Efutu municipality. This is a brief history of the Department of Graphic Design from the head of department.
The Department of Graphic Design attained a full departmental status in 2007 after it had existed as academic unit under the Department of Art Education since the inception of the University of Education in 1992. Actually, the first batch of students were admitted in 2006 and 2007 academic year to pursue BA in graphic design. And I must say it has been a hectic journey because the department began with just 2 lectures and just an additional room which was divided into 4 small offices. So 2 of these offices were used by one by the head of department and then the secretary, which I occupy now. So this was the head of department's office, and then the secretary's office was here. And then the other 2 offices is the one that is adjacent here, and then one here. So these were the only 4 offices that were being used by the lecturers who were 7. The department has over the years changed, where the department now occupying 2 blocks with 3 lecture theaters as well as office spaces for the head of department, which is in the other block. We have a secretariat and then the staff, and then at a point we were still sharing 1 or 2 computer laboratories with the art education, and we still do. But now we are trying to see if we can get our own studio. It all boils down to facilities for the department. Also, I must say that for now we have talked about 15 years since its inception. We have trained lots of students, if not in thousands, I must say maybe in hundreds, because our current level 100 students are even 173, and then level 200 are almost about 204. So if you calculate from 2007 up to this time, at least we have trained a lot of students. So that's the background history of the department.
The department has 4 main pathways, which are advertising, animation, multimedia, and graphic design. Here is what the advertising lecturer had to say about the advertising course offered at the department.
Steven Osei Cham. I'm a lecturer at the Department of Graphic Design, University of Education, Winneba. I teach advertising. Most of the advertising tracks are the courses that I teach. Advertising and marketing communications. The courses interacting with advertising agencies. I also teach advertising laboratory. I also teach building a portfolio for job search, studio research in advertising 1, and studio research in advertising 2. Yeah, so the question is, why should a marketer take a product designed by the graphic designer or the creative team, goes to sell it by going through the pitching process and all that, and that marketer is given a commission for being able to sell something that was created by not the marketer himself or herself, but the creative directors or the graphic designer. So I think that if a graphic design student goes through the training of marketing, understands marketing, practices advertising and marketing communications, that person will have an added advantage, over the marketer. And I think that one will help the graphic designer to excel in the advertising industries and in any other industry they may find themselves.
Okay, so the advertising track for this very course, it entails students being able to, I feel that as a graphic design student, you should be able to know how to advertise a product. I always tell my students that if you are an advertiser or you're a graphic designer and you do not know how to sell your product, then I don't think you are complete, you are not complete. So it is very essential for students to know what goes into the advertising track. If you talk about advertising and marketing communications, advertising itself is one of the marketing communication tools. So it's a component of marketing communication tools. And until you get to understand what goes into marketing communication tools, it's very difficult for you as a student to actually sell yourself and sell your product after the program. So what it entails is that by the period of the study from level 200, that is when they start with their specialization of advertising, to level 400, we should have gone through the very process I mentioned earlier to understand what goes into advertising proper, what goes into the other marketing communication tools, what goes into the 4 P's of marketing. And if students understand it that way, we feel that the students will be able to actually compete, be very competitive in the job market. So these are the things that we want students to get to understand. If a student goes through the course, which is building a portfolio for job search, students end up learning how to create their own portfolios. Now, the age of the normal hard copy portfolio, yes, we do that. But you do the hard copy one and then also do the electronic portfolio. And after going through the rigorous exercise to enable you come up with your own electronic portfolio, which an electronic platform is used to come up with that portfolio, you realize that the students end up learning enough, which helps them to be very competitive in the job market. And the other courses, let's say a course like interacting with advertising agencies, the students get to know what goes into what happens in the industries. Aside the field trips that they end up going to, even before the field trips, they are taught what goes on in the industries, they are exposed to some of the things. So they only go out for the field trips to just adapt to what they have been taught and what they have been exposed to. So knowing what goes on in the advertising industry helps them to get themselves to be prepared even before they complete their 4-year education as an advertiser. So these are the things that goes on in that entails when it comes to the track of advertising. Yeah, advertising is very, very important in the industry, especially as I always say for a graphic designer, because I think that if you end up knowing and getting to understand the 4 P's of marketing, getting to understand marketing communications itself and the marketing communication tools, what I think is that it gives the student an advantage in the job market, which is usually marketers are those who sell the products designed by graphic designers. Now, in our context, students go through the basics of marketing, and if a graphic designer is able to come up with his own product, a graphic product, and that student has the know-how, the knowledge to sell that very product, I think that gives that student an advantage, an added advantage, because the marketer can only sell a product, but this graphic design student who has gone through advertising can market the same product and also make the product itself. So we think that these are the things that gives our students the advantage in the job market and makes them very competitive and puts them on a different level with regards to the advertising industries and the graphic design industry and all industries at large, because every other industry we find ourselves in, industries wherever we find ourselves in this country or outside Ghana, there is always a need for an advertiser or graphic designer. So if we have someone in this area who has the skill and the knowledge of marketing and also marketing communications, then we can say that that student is well made up. Little bit of management. So I think that all these areas are there for graphic designers to occupy in the advertising industries. As an advertiser, we all know what goes into graphic design. So we have illustrators, we have animators, and all the units under graphic design. All those things too are there. Are they available for a graphic designer or an advertiser who is a trained graphic designer to gain these skills and also occupy such positions within the industries? Thank you.
For multimedia offered at the department, this is what one of the lecturers taking the course had to say.
My name is Mr. Albert Wong. I'm with the Department of Graphic Design. Now, most of the courses I handle are multimedia related. And back in the days, it wasn't so. And looking at the demands of the industry, it's quite relevant that we add a component of multimedia to the tracks that we teach at the department. Now, with the department handling multimedia, we take courses that relates to modeling, we do animation, we do visual effects. So the multimedia course aims to orient students to the current needs of the industry. So we are looking at students who can manage, produce, and edit very high demanding content. And I'm not surprised currently, most of our students are the best that we find, being the backbone for most of the content being experienced even on national television. So at the department with multimedia, we do editing. There's a component of some courses which allow us to deal with treating live footages, and as well as giving the students some knowledge on the camera. And not only that, we treat our students to the very best in terms of how they can come to know much of 3D modeling, as well as how they can be very good when it comes to After Effects. Okay, so for multimedia, we use Adobe Premiere Pro. We also use Adobe After Effects. We use Maya Cinema 4D and Data Frames. So looking at the demands of multimedia, you might need the very best of system that could possibly help you to edit and then bring your concepts to life. So most of our students are charged with getting laptops on their own. Hopefully, I'm very sure the institution is acquiring a number of systems being put in place so that our students could have the very best of experience when it comes to machines that could possibly be used for editing. So we are looking at systems that could help render, systems that could help the editing phases, and systems that could help bring out the very best in our students. Time after the course, we young people who really pay attention to details. I'm not surprised with these days are finding students working with advertising agencies, some working with TV stations, some of them tending to become the very fine professional video bloggers. We found a number of our students performing very well with 3D animation, and a number of them to becoming video bloggers and photographers. We found also a number of them becoming very fine motion graphics artists, as well as becoming product visualizers.
Here is what one of the animation lecturers had to say about the animation course offered at the department.
My name is Solis Umefa Ajay from the graphic design department. I teach computer 3D animation. Okay, remember when you were growing up, you used to watch Scooby-Doo. Okay, so Scooby-Doo is animation, but then simply put, what it means is that a series of pictures put together when played, or a series of pictures of movement when put together and played, shows the illusion of movement. That is basically animation. So all the cartoons you've been watching, they are all just pictures put together, which when played gives you that illusion that movement is taking place. There are two types of animation, 2D and 3D. When we talk of 2D, you can only use the X and Y axis. When you go back to secondary school or mathematics, when you are drawing graphs, you drew X and Y axis. So with the X and Y axis, you can only move in those two dimensions. But then with 3D, it gives you an extra dimension, which is the Z. You can move around. So take it that you are doing a sculptural work. You can move around the sculpture work in 3D. It's the same as 3D animation. You can see and move around the characters in 3D, but with 2D animation you can't do that. They are in the flat. We teach just 3D, and the industry standard is Maya, Autodesk Maya. So we use Autodesk Maya for our 3D animations. Though there are other software that can be used, we concentrate on Autodesk 3D. It is a plus when you already know the software, okay, because then it puts you ahead of your colleagues. And what happens is that when our students come, we give them a site to visit where they can download the software and install on their machines for work. The link is given when you come to level 200. That is in the Maya class. And it is an Autodesk site for students, basically. Well, first of all, in any production, there are 3 stages: the pre-production, the post-production, and production stage. And all these stages involve different things. For example, in animation, during the pre-production stage, that is when you make all your sketches, you brainstorm, you come up with ideas, you put your resources together, you draw a budget, and anything that will be done to make the production successful. During the production stage, the sketches you made from the pre-production are used to model characters for your story. And then in the post-production stage, you do your effects, you put your renderings together, and then you render output for viewing. In short, or in summary, that is what animation entails. And you would need a good 3D artist to bring your imaginations to life. Very important. At the end of the second semester of the first year, there is a meeting where students are given some form of orientation with regards to the various pathways: advertising, graphic design, and multimedia. So then by the time you come back from vacation, you have decided what to read, because it is assumed that in the first year you take all the courses, so you test and know where your interest is. So after the orientation, you can then make up your mind as to exactly which pathway to go or to choose. First and foremost, you can be a 3D artist, you can be a visual effect artist, you can rigging, someone who rigs is a term in 3D modeling. You can also do texturing, you can just concentrate on the hair of models, the clothes, so many pathways. But in Ghana, most people do everything because we don't have individuals specializing in these things. So you should be able to do almost all these things if you want to produce an animation. In 3D modeling, we use basic shapes, okay? And we assume that these shapes are like clay, and you do to them as you would to clay. So you can form various things from a clay. You can make characters, you can make human beings, cars, animals, houses, etc. The same way, when you're modeling, you are transforming these polygonal shapes into human beings, into cars, into animals, into whatever it is that you want to do. Then the other thing, when we talk of rigging, after God had created us, created the human body needed to be supported by something. So he put in bones so that we can stand and perform activities. In the same way, after you have modeled your character, you will need to give your character some form of support. So in rigging, you are creating bones with joints, or you are creating joints so that you can to help you manipulate your character or models to perform specific or certain tasks. Rigging has to do with just bones, but then the clothing is also modeled. Okay, sometimes um, depending on what you want to do, the clothes become is part of the character. Okay, other times too, you can model the clothes differently. After that, you constrain them. When you're constraining something, you are linking or attaching them so that when I move, the clothes move with me. Otherwise, what will happen is that when I move, or when the character moves, the clothes will be left behind. You have a naked character, which will not be too nice. You're great. If you don't have a good machine, you can't produce any good works. And you can't be waiting for your friend to finish working before you also work. You all have deadlines to meet. Everybody is working to meet a deadline. Therefore, the students should be given some kind of orientation. In my view, I would suggest that before you even apply, during the application process, you are given specifics. If you decide to do graphic design, there are branches. Because definitely, some people coming in know where they are going already. Some know that I want to do graphic design, others advertising. Another person is coming because he or she wants to do 3D. So, at the back of your mind, if you know you are coming to offer 3D or you take a course in multimedia, you need so and so and so and so. That when you come on the course and you follow your friend blindly, just in case, you are not shocked by your machine breaking down, by your machine crashing, and then you end up getting frustrated and going home with little. So that notion that they are the busiest, it is not because they pretend to be busy. It is because they are struggling to finish hard with the course. But then if we make them understand that this and this is what you need for the course, I don't think we will have this I'm busier than everybody. First of all, you need a foundation, okay? When you apply, now we are trying to fine tune the application process for those who are doing BFA animation. So when you are coming onto the course, at least you should have some knowledge in um, graphic design in multimedia. So recently there was a meeting where some lecturers, teachers from the secondary, from the primary met. They are trying to restructure the curriculum so that we will have aspects of multimedia from the lower primaries, upper primaries, JHS, secondary school. So when they come to the university, it will not be a shock because for some people, using a laptop in the university would be their first time using. But if they are introduced from a younger age, then when they come and it is time, so our requirement says that if you want to do BFA animation, you should have so and so requirements in multimedia. So you already have some skill before applying for to do multimedia. I would say that my mom was my greatest cheerleader. My dad wanted me to do science because I was brilliant. I'm brilliant. But I wasn't a science person. Though my elder sister is in the sciences, she did pharmacology. So I used to read all her books. Okay. So when it comes to medicine, someone is sick, I know what to do. But then that wasn't for me. My dad was insisting she has to do science. My mom said no, she can draw. So she has to do visual arts. So when the time for choosing our courses came, my mother went quickly and she chose visual arts for me. Well, I don't know what happened after that. Then I went to school. So when I started doing my visual arts, I was like, okay, I want to be an architect. I want to be an architect. So right from the start, I had the support of my mom, then later my dad. So my dad would tell me, if you win an award, I'll do this for you. Okay. So when I win, he'll be like, is that all you want? I should have won more. So I push myself. First and foremost, you need to identify that you have this talent. Sometimes we are not able to identify we have so and so talent. You therefore need somebody who would help you. That is where career guidance comes in, which is lacking in most of our schools. Okay. But as you're growing up, if you realize you can draw, you have interest in art, approach somebody who is already in the field, especially for females. People are happy when the female species they come up and say, "Ah, I want to do this. I think I have this." They are very happy because now the idea is to push the females. The world thinks that women have been marginalized for too long. So once you're a female and you show interest in something, they try to push you. So don't stay in your one corner and do whatever you want to do. If nobody is pushing you and you know you have that talent, approach somebody who is already in that field, who will bring you along with him. So my mother carried me when she has TLM to do. She will bring them, she was a teacher, so she will bring them to me. I'll make the drawings, then she takes them to school. Then she'll tell her mate, hey, my daughter drew this thing. It's nice, so come and see. Okay, let's take the industry for example. the advertising industry, it is made up of mostly men. You don't find a lot of women. You can say that most of my mates, women, they have dropped. I can't even count up to 10 who are still practicing. And sometimes when you go out to design, to print, certain comments, they are not fair for you. You give up. They are not very friendly towards women because they think that it is a man's job. That is the advertising industry for you. So to be able to break out or break through, you will have to be extra hardworking, more than your colleagues. You know that in this world, certain jobs are for men and certain jobs are for women. So in the house, the woman is supposed to take care of the house. The man is supposed to go out and work and bring in food. But it is not like that. It shouldn't be like that. When men are gathered and there is a woman, you have to know your place in quotes. Okay? So when there's a meeting, yes, you have a voice to speak. But before that, you should know you are a woman. So sometimes the men have to take the lead to do certain things, then you follow. And oh yeah, Rebecca so clear. I don't know whether you get it. I say okay. And yes, I say October. You take your time. You will be called. Then you also share your view. But this department generally, the men have been really supportive. They treat me as one of them. Yes, and they give me the support I need. Nobody has tried to suppress me. No, they haven't. We are all on the same pedestal. So when there's an opportunity, we are all given the opportunity to showcase what we can do. And sometimes I'll say that I'm encouraged or pushed the more because I'm a woman. So it's like I'm the W of the or the KHA of the department. They've been very helpful. But even with that, you have to know when to do what so that you don't step on anybody's toes.
When one is admitted into the graphic design department, he or she automatically becomes a member of the association. Here is what the president of the Design Society also had to say about the society.
My name is Godwin Opoku Jemfi, the current president for the Design Society, DESOC. DESOC is an association which is in the graphic design department. Automatically, when you get admission to the University of Education to offer graphic design, you are a member of the society. And the main aim of the society is the welfare of the students. As the saying goes, all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. So when we came into office, we had a very nice Freshers Aquaba. We started from Rep Your JC, old school, anything DESOC. When you say anything DESOC, you wear anything about DESOC, it being your t-shirt, your cloth, whatever that you have about DESOC, you wear it. Then we had a bonfire and a Jama night with the Spartans. From there we crowned it all with the live band at the Central Campus, which we have people from the School of Creative Art to support us with the theater, art education, music, and many people from different departments, they supported us. And the recent one which is coming on is the field trip, which we are going to tour Cape Coast, the Kakum National Park, and the Cape Coast Castle. From there we crowned it all at the Hans Cottage. We are going to have fun because you can't learn without having fun, because all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. Thank you.
This is what some students from the department and outside the department had to say about the graphic design program and what graphic design is.
My name is Deborah Kumedusi. I'm a level 400 student of the Department of Graphic Design at the University of Education, Winneba. Well, for me, I would say graphic design is a very practical course. It's visual communication. So what you see on flyers, videos, motion graphics, signages, posters, they are all graphic design because we have to communicate visually to our target audience or our viewers. Oh, okay. I would say I was introduced to graphic design at the senior high school level because I did visual arts. And when I was done with SHS, I had the chance to go to computer school. And there I was introduced to Photoshop. So in a way, I would say yes, I had a bit of prior knowledge to graphic design before I came to the University of Education, Winneba. Okay, so my expectations, I would say my expectations were a lot because from the research I made of what graphic design is at the university level, I had a lot of expectation. I was expecting to learn more on Photoshop, photo manipulations, 3D, although I was not very sure if I was going to go through the 3D process. More of motion graphics, I've mentioned that already, and then design. Okay, for the realities that set in was, I knew we were going to go through some of these processes of learning softwares, but I didn't think we were going to go through the whole of my first year with history, theory aspects. I was expecting we would zoom directly into practical, but we went through a basic knowledge, I think something very similar to GKA, that's general knowledge in arts back in senior high school, before we went to the more advanced level when we broke into our groups in level 200. We were asked to choose between multimedia, advertising and graphic design, of which I chose multimedia, and we went more into photography, videography, and then 3D animation. Okay, so after the course, well, I would say that so far as till now, I've been able to have a first-hand knowledge on taking videos, doing photography, 3D modeling, 3D animation. So my expectation outside of university is I'll be able to take everything I've learned here and be able to use it in a more advanced way. And more advanced, as in, graphic design is a course you have to keep on improving on because there are different things that come up every day, different trends, different techniques. And even the softwares we use, there are different updates that come with it. So I would set those goals for myself in a way that I will expect myself to take what I've learned here and then use whatever tutorials I find outside to improve myself so that I can fit anywhere into the industry I find myself when it comes to graphic design. For the real world, I'll say that when we were in level 300, we had a chance to go out to do our internship. And we had a bit of an experience with how the real world is. So I expect the real world to be a bit stressful, but we have learned to find a way around it. So it was very stressful and demanding of us as graphic designers because here was the case, I found myself in an advertising agency and every day there's much to do and you'll be expected to work very fast and produce results. So the real world is going to be something that will be very stressful, and if you are not someone who improves daily on your workflow or on your skills, you find it very hard outside. And I would also improve on myself to give more to these industries that I find myself in.
My name is Obinkweku Wisdom, a level 200 student of the Department of Graphic Design. All right, so my general knowledge about graphic design is we are more into photography, advertising, we are into multimedia, editing, videography, and then a whole lot. Okay, so my expectations before I came to the department was I was wanting to hear a lot more about photo editing, videography, because I wanted to dive into those aspects. But I think gradually I am getting a lot of ideas from that, and it's good. It's building me up bit by bit. So far I've not had any regrets because anything we are doing in this course is actually building me, and it's actually a field I had wanted to go into. So I think it's rather opening my mind in so many things and then enlightening me in so many things. So I'm very, very much grateful I chose this course. Okay, so I had no knowledge about some of the software we use in the department, but since I came here, I think I've been able to use Photoshop, which is one of the software we use to make photo editing, to make caricatures, to make retouching, and then a whole lot. There are a lot more into the Photoshop, and then I'm liking it. I'm loving it. My set goal, because of the course I am into, which is the advertising, one of my goals is that I get out of the school or complete the school with a skilled knowledge of advertising. I want to be one of the business moguls outside the country and even within the country. That is one of my goals. What I'm expecting from the real world is that they give us their maximum attention and support, even as we as a team come out there to support them. Because if you bring out something and then it's not accepted, it is hard for you to initiate it. So we are just seeking for their support even as we come out there. That is what we are looking out for the real world. Okay, so with a little bit of multimedia idea I have, what I want to give back after my completion of school is I want us to have that foreign editing we see outside there. I want us to bring that into this country. I want us to see this real life in our editings. That is one thing I want us to bring after my completion. Anyone out there, I would always recommend you to choose graphic design, because even with graphic design, when you are done with school, which is your completion, you can even set up your own business on your own with just your laptop and then some printing materials you would need. You can set up your own business. You don't need to get a second party to support you or not. With your small space, you can set up your own business, unlike other courses. So I would always recommend you to come and offer graphic design in the University of Education, Winneba. Thank you.
My name is Victoria Nanja from Communication and Media Studies, Department of Journalism and Media Studies. The little I know about graphic designers, they are into designing of graphics, newspapers, bill photos, and many more. And when it comes to advertising, in case you want to advertise your product, or maybe you are into a restaurant, they design flyers and other things for you that are going to help you advertise your product and then your meals out there. That's the little I know about graphic design.
I'm Herbert Edwins, a level 1 student from the English language department. And then my knowledge about graphic designers is about they are into photography, multimedia, they do flyers and all kind of stuffs. I think that is what I have in mind. Thank you.
With graphic design, this is what one of the lecturers taking the course had to say.
Yeah, I must say that with the graphic design department, we do pure graphic design into detailing. With regard to art education, because the program is such a way that we are training students to go and teach, we don't, delve into details of the graphic design. We get the surfaces, how the student will go and teach. But with graphic design, we go into details, and then we make sure that the students are well versed. They have acquired kind of skill that when they go out to the world of work, they'll be able to, contribute their quota to the development of the nation, of the self, and then maybe the world. Yeah. Let's not forget about also running program in animation, BFA in animation. So over the years, I think these are the additions that we've had the animation program and then the video communication program and the pathways that we'll be able to have. Software, yes. So we have I think the InDesign, Illustrator, Adobe, Photoshop, I think there's also CorelDRAW, and then we also are doing multimedia. There's a software called Maya that I think we are also using. So basically these are the things that software that we are handling now for the students here. Yeah, in the photography course, I think it was being run. We started with the BA graphic design as one of the courses. I also came in 2011 to contribute to my quota as a graphic design lecturer from the Takoradi Technical Institute, University. So it has existed before I even came. But as I'm saying, with my coming, I think the photography course has actually grown. And a lot of students have actually had interest in taking the photography course for academic work and for the development itself. Yeah, basically it's about the acquisition of equipment, basically the camera, and not just any camera, but single lens reflex, and now digital single lens reflex cameras that our students should suppose to have. But the problem has always been that the price of the camera or the cost of the camera is high for that most students don't purchase before they come. But I think for now, as a requirement, that's what they're going to do. They're going to put it in the requirement so that if you're a student and you know that you're going to do graphic design, you're applying as a graphic design student, then you need to, as a requirement, you need to have a camera. Basically, this is the encounter. And then also, students, when given assignments, tend to think, within themselves. They don't think outside the box. So most works are duplicated. So these are one of the things that the encounter that I've had with students. But basically, students, that's how they behave. So what can you do that to accommodate them? Well, so what the department has been able to do is that acquired 4 digital cameras that is being used by the lecturer and then the students for practice. So some students have these, but unfortunately, you know how camera is a very delicate equipment that if you entrust it to a student and you're not careful, you go and hit it somewhere, bring it quietly, and kind of put it down. So it is given to students under strict supervision with either a service person being with the student or the lecturer himself being with the student to work with the camera. So this is the little assistance that the school gives to students in terms of the use of or the acquisition of cameras and the practical works. Currently, we have 17 lecturers, 16 being males, and then 1 female. But we also have a female administrative officer, so making 18. And we also have a 1 part-timer who is coming from the Takoradi Technical University. Yeah. As for the career opportunity, it's enormous. Very, very enormous. As I began by saying that graphic design has a lot of parts. If you take just the graphic design alone, and not even animation, you have printing, you have photography, you have illustration, you have other press printing, and then screen printing, and then other areas. The fact is that once you are able to go through this program, you are equipped to do so many things, because we do a lot of things, even press management, which is basically about how to manage a press, and it's a managerial, so to say, a course sort of that even if you learn that alone, you'll be able to manage any establishment. Yeah. So graphic design has a lot of career opportunities, a lot of them that I cannot mention all here. If you go out as as a designer yourself, some even enter into the design of websites as a website designer, photographer, videographer, and a whole lot. Press, printer, web designer, a whole lot. So that's for the job of India. And yourself, you have to interview me because you are serious about the program, and you will take a serious look at whatever the project you're doing. Look at where you are. At least you can testify that at least when you go out, you need to work in the graphic design institution or establishment, as compared to others who come and lazy out and they go and now they begin to look for other works like being a secretary and things like that, which for me, I don't see it as anything for the ladies. Even as we become the visual communication, MPhil in visual communication, the very first, candidates who applied were 19. And when they came for the interview, all were successful. You understand? It tells us that, yes, the kind of training we gave them and their interest to come and continue the program is high. Secondly, we have trained students here, students who have gone and come back as lecturers who are also lecturing in the department. When we did tracer studies of our students, we realized that most of them are in the graphic design industry, and then almost about half of them are on their own. Every corner of the country, some are even outside working as graphic designers. So these are the reasons why I would say 8 out of 10 if I should rate it. You know this grading system A, B, C, D, and then the A1, B2, B3, and those things. The requirement has been that if you have 3 core, 3 electives, you qualify. But the 3 core, the 3 electives should include general knowledge in art. So if you want to do graphic design, then you should have general knowledge in art, graphic design or picture making. So graphic design and picture making, or any other, SHS, art course. However, even though we have stated that it should be 3 core and 3 electives, if you get D7 in any of these courses, you are not going to be admitted to come and do graphic design, unless maybe you do a diploma course. Then you move from that angle, meaning that your worst grade in the 3 core and the 3 electives should be at most C6. You understand? But personally, I don't agree to that. I don't support that system. Or there could be a situation where somebody may get A in English, A in math, D7 in science, A in graphic design, A in general knowledge in art, and A in picture making. But because the person had D7 in math, you tell me that the person cannot be enrolled as a degree student. That's why I don't agree, because what do we do? What do we use maths for in graphic design? It's just minimal, very minimal. So if somebody had a D7 in maths and the rest A in all, and still 1% you don't go, then what is the basis? Now for me, I don't agree. I don't support that system. So that's the requirement. It is the same with animation. And then, but with the visual communication, that is the entry of visual communication, at least you should have second upper. Okay, those who have second lower will come for a serious interview before they are admitted to do the MPhil visual communication studies. So these are the requirements. However, we also have diploma in graphic design, which I didn't mention in my earlier submission. When they also complete and they want to roll over to the degree, they should have a minimum cumulative grade point of 2.50. That is when you can roll over to the degree. However, if you want to do multimedia, it is not automatic. No, you wouldn't, whether you get 3.0 or 3.5, you'll still come to second year. But those who want to do advertising and then graphic design, they can be rolled over to do with the 2.50 cumulative grade point. So these are the requirements. And then because students of today do not like reading, because it is specified on the website. It is there. Whatever how do you call it, scratch card you buy, when you key in the figures, it will take you to the site. Now the courses are there: art education, graphic design, requirement for art education, requirement for graphic design. So sometimes I don't see why it happens. But what I'm saying, students of today don't like reading, or they don't take their time in reading. That is why, because it is specified. It is there, clearly stated. And I think you want to do art education, fill this form. If you want to do graphic design, fill this form. So why not you go and then fill graphic design form when in matter of fact you want to do education? So I mean, it's the fault of the student and not the school, so to say. We don't give chances to students to misbehave. We make sure that the right information is given to them, and to whom much is given, much is expected. So since lectures are serious at all times and want the good of the students, they give out their best. And so if the student is ready for the program, definitely he will also acquire something good before he gets out. Let me give you an example. Just quite recently, about last year, we entered into a competition with other universities in Ghana. All those who are preferring graphic design. In actual fact, UW were not part, but because I personally had a relationship with those organizers, graphic design students, UW students were added to this competition and won, hands down. You get a point. So this is the kind of training that we are giving to our students, and for that matter, anywhere they go, they excel. When they go to any other institution, graphic design establishment, what they say is that when our students come there for industrial attachment, they perform better than other universities. So that is the secret. Seriousness and discipline. That's it. Thank you.
For more information about the Department of Graphic Design, visit the school website on www.uew.edu.gh.